podium now. Coach, can you hear us okay?
I can. Don't
We are
see
ready.
anybody yet, but I can hear you.
We're ready to start whenever you are.
Okay. All right, just coming in from a Thursday practice. It's nice and crisp out there, which is good, but great to be practicing, great to be in this game. And with that, I'll just open it up.
Let's go first to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Coach, I was wondering if you could kind of go through maybe what you might have been missing last game in both Tyrann Mathieu and Rashad Fenton, and how that might help you guys play a little bit better this week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we need all of our guys. It was it took us a little bit by surprise, obviously, when Tyrann got hurt early. We did have a package. We were going to do something a little bit different, that we had to throw the thing completely out, that we had especially for Buffalo. So that set us back a little bit. But then, it's like we've always said, right? Somebody's got to step up, and the guys did that. We didn't play, nearly the defense we wanted to when it was all said and done, but we navigated through it. And fortunately for us, our offense made some plays, and we're still playing football.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Steve. Jamar Chase obviously had that big game against you the last time around. What is it about him? What stands out about him as an opposing defensive coordinator?
Yeah, Adam, certainly the talent and speed and the catch radius and all that. And I just think one of the things we found out, firsthand, is that, their quarterback and that receiver really work well together. They know each other real well. Obviously, the time together at LSU makes a difference, and you can see it in the confidence in the way they play. And those two together are a dynamic duo. No question about it.
Let's go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Brad, I'll have a couple things. Steve, obviously, the game that Jamar had, it sort of leads to conventional wisdom that you give him more attention, and not asking you to give away your game plan. But how much of that equation is that they've got two other receivers who can do a lot of damage as well?
Well, that point you're making, Sam, is a real good one. It's not like they have one weapon, commit two people to it and you're home free. All three of those guys I think we talked about this the last time we played Cincinnati. Yeah. Throughout the course of the season, all three of those guys have been the leading receiver for them on a given day. So they're all capable of what we call wrecking the game. So we've got to pay a lot of attention to all three of them. And the quarterback knows where to go with the ball. I mean, he's sharp enough to know that if you're taking one of his guys away, he's going to go someplace else. So we'll have to play that cat and mouse game. But there's certainly, as dynamic as Lamar Chase is, there's certainly some other weapons there as well.
And then we're talking to L'Jarius later today. Obviously, he went through, or still is going through, something really difficult this year. What's it been like since he came back?
Yeah, listen, you guys know how I feel about LJ. He's near and dear to my heart, and what he went through was not easy. And I'm sure that weighs on him now. And yet he's out there. He's a pro. Every day, during the week, during the game. He's always asking for more. He always wants to know what he can do better. And we need him out there. I mean, he makes us a better unit when he's out there, not only at the nickel spot, but when he's outside in some of our other packages, and he can, lock down that corner. But he's one of the players that, we need everybody, right? But he's unique and special to us.
Let's go next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
Brad, and I'll have a quick follow-up if I could as well. You talk about the coverage on Jamar Chase, and I know he had a big statistical day, Coach, but there are a lot of times, I don't know how you can cover a guy better, and he just went and made a play. Even the one that rolls off the hand, Charvarius got his hand on it, just rolled right over his hand into Jamar Chase's hands. Like, what do you say? Like, you guys sit around and make jokes about that kind of thing when you're watching it back on tape, or do you cry? Like, how do you look at that, and what do you tell the guys?
More tears than smiles, I can tell you that. But Seren, you bring up a really, really good point. Listen, they had the upper hand on that day, but I would agree with you that they were all contested, and our guys were where they were supposed to be. Just somehow, some way, we got to try to find a way to make a play. And I think all of our guys feel that way. We do what we do. We are what we are. Hopefully, when that same situation happens in this game, we can find a way to get it knocked out, or have them go throw it somewhere else. But we need to make those plays. Our guys understand that. And if we do that, certainly the outcome will be a lot better than it was last time.
I know you guys got a lot of pressure on Burrow last game, and he sacked 9 times in this past game and didn't make a mistake. when you look at him, for a young guy to be able to stand in against the rush and take the rush. I mean, he's taking hits, right? He's not just seeing it and getting the ball out, but and to consistently do that and not make mistakes. How special is that? How does he rank amongst other quarterbacks?
Yeah, now he is special. I agree with you on that. I told you guys last time what I saw of him, Brady-like, and I certainly feel the same way coming out of that game. You know, I know the numbers of sacks, but I tell you what, when you watch some of those, I think that some of them are really smart, intelligent sacks, if there is such a thing. I think he's smart enough to know that you don't want to make a mistake. He's not turning the ball over. The other thing he's really, really good at that moment where he thinks he might get sacked, he protects the football. He's got two hands on that football all the time. And he's slick enough and athletic enough to make a guy miss like he did to us twice in that game when we had a couple of pressures off the edge. And we got to find ways, if we get in those situations again, to finish them off. But all of our guys, myself included, have a great deal of respect for this quarterback.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go Nate and then Matt. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Steve. You guys have been really successful this year in rematches. And perhaps your most significant rematch was obviously in the Super Bowl against the undefeated Patriots at the time. That game plan was so different from the first. I just wonder, how do you teach, or is there anything that you found in rematches that can apply to your players or teach your players to sort of execute things differently that can give you an upper hand, and what that process is like?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, listen, I'm sure Cincinnati did the same thing. We spent a lot of time on the film of the last game because you get to see matches and how they attacked you, how you attacked them. You try to put a couple of tweaks in there, and yet you can't venture at this time of the season. You can't venture too far from who you are and what you do, right? Because then sometimes you jumble the brains up here and the feet don't work quite as good. You know, you slow it down. So, when you said that, Nate, I'd like to think the second matchup with Buffalo was good, but we didn't do as well as we wanted to do last week. I hope the outcome of this one is a lot better, but we know the challenge that we have. We know this offense is very productive with a lot of weapons, just like the one we just got done playing. We just got to find a way to be better than we were a week ago and better than we were when we played them last time.
Last to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Coach, just curious your thoughts on what Nick Bolton was able to do last week. And from a development perspective, how exciting has his growth been from a rookie to making huge plays in a big game last week?
Nick's special. I think all the guys that play with him and all the coaches that coach him, myself included, are real glad that we have him here. I think I've mentioned this before. To me, he's one of the most instinctive football players, certainly linebackers that I've worked with. And he's intelligent and he's into it. And, I watch Hitch work with Nick throughout the season. And I think that's a special relationship. And I believe Nick would probably tell you this, that he's very fortunate that he's on a team that has a veteran, really like Ben and like Hitch, because when these guys come into the league early, a lot of how they do later on has to do with who they're with veteran leadership wise when they first come in the league. So happy for his development. And certainly I think he'd tell you that he's feels fortunate that he's working with the guys he's working with.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for
Okay,
joining.
good. Thank you.
All right, guys, we got Coach EB coming your way next.